you draft nerds out there. My name is Draft Raw, and thank you for tuning in to In the Clutch. What's up, you guys? Once again, this is your host, Draft Raw, and it is draft week. It is draft week, the most exciting week in the NFL, besides probably the Super Bowl, is draft week. The draft is coming up on Thursday, April the 29th. I just want to let y'all guys know that I will be doing a video literally right after the draft, and it should be uploaded within an hour or two after the draft. But you know how the draft is, and people are probably going to go to sleep and wake up in the morning and watch the video anyway. But I just want to let everybody know that that will happen. I did think about going live. The only problem with going live during the draft, for at least for myself, is at the studio there isn't they don't have a cable system, a network system that we can actually watch the draft, and using your phone sometimes can be a little bit delayed, and so I didn't want to go through with doing that. I said, well, I can just do a video after the draft that will go into what happened within the first round of the draft, and I only is going to do the first round. I won't do the other rounds. I'm gonna wait till after the draft to do the other rounds. But in this particular video, this video is about the top running back prospects within the 2021 draft. Now, as you notice, I've been talking a little bit. I'm not in the studio. I'm in my basement. I had to take a step away from the studio for a second. Like I said, basically Thursday night, or I guess say Friday morning, I'm going to be in studio doing, the first round of the draft video. So instead of going to the studio this last week, I guess you could say, I decided I can take a step back and actually go this week, but go at the end of the week where obviously the draft is going to be happening. So anyway, I just wanted to just let y'all know what was going on with the draft, and also the reason why I'm not in studio. But like I said, this video is about the top running back prospects of the 2021 draft. Now, let's just get straight into it. I want to kind of go into the top two guys, Travis Etienne and Najee Harris, or pretty much the consensus top two guys. This doesn't mean that they're my literal top two guys. It's just the consensus. I like doing that. I don't always go into a prospect or in a position that it's literally like the top guys. But this is definitely these are definitely the consensus top guys. With Najee he's a very easy prospect to evaluate at the running back position. Alabama running back. You pretty much kind of get what you're going to get. He's got amazing quickness. He's an amazing third down type of back. You see him blocking. You see him catching footballs. You see the power that he brings. You see the balance that he brings that is really, really huge to his game. The only thing that he doesn't have when I watched him was this immediate burst or acceleration, and that natural or just straight line quickness. It's a little bit like Derrick Henry in terms of Derrick Henry technically does not have an immediate burst, right? But what Derrick Henry does have is, because he's such a big running back, he can build up momentum, and that's how he's able to break tackles. And like I said, he's a big running back, so he's hard to take down on top of that. But that momentum being built up, and when he gets to going, it's not like he actually gains speed as he's actually running. It's just that he's already at top speed once he gets to running. Once you see him get the head of steam rolling, he's already at top speed, and it's pretty cool to see. And that's what you see from Najee. Najee doesn't really have, I guess you say that, like I said, the top end speed, but what he does have is that type of build up speed that's going to be that's very detrimental to his game, and that has pretty much kind of made him a consensus top running back. Now, do I have him as my top running back? No, I don't have him as my top running back in this draft. I actually have Travis Etienne is my top guy. Etienne, same thing, and the difference between Najee and Etienne is Etienne is a little bit smaller, right? But I think they pretty much had the same game. The biggest difference is Etienne has top rated speed and acceleration and burst, and I think that's the biggest thing that Najee doesn't have. I think Najee is a little better at he's probably will break more tackles, or he probably has better balance, which I like to say his balance is one of the best in college football that we've seen in a while. J.K. Dobbins is a guy that comes to mind last year who had great balance. Najee is just, it's right there. It's just the balance is absolutely amazing with that guy. But with Travis Etienne, maybe his balance is not as good as Najee. But when I think overall, he's still a good running back. And honestly, I have him as my top running back. Simply because he's got that extra burst, he's got that extra acceleration that Najee doesn't have, and then on top of that, he carries more with him in terms of, Najee can catch the ball and be a good receiver, but I think a guy that you can use more gadget wise and still use as a running back is Travis Etienne. He gives you a little bit more in terms of route running and certain stuff like that, being able to separate from defenders and all that. And that's not Najee can't do it. But, it's more of a natural thing for Travis to being more of a gadget guy, but also being a top-rated running back. So then as we go down the list, the guy that I actually have as my number 2 is not Najee. Najee is actually not my number 2 running back. Michael Carter. And actually, as I actually look at my list, Najee is my he is my number 3. But he's actually not my number 2. Michael Carter from UNC is my number 2. And the reason is that I'm looking at my notes. That's why I keep looking down. He can dodge in a phone booth. That's one thing that I wrote. When you see this guy, like even in open space, whether it's behind this line of scrimmage or in open space, he's so quick and so agile. It's and just elusive. It's just out of this world. It's hard to even explain. It's if he was in a phone booth with another defender, like literally in a phone booth, I guarantee you, the guy wouldn't be able to touch him before Najee Harris gets out of the phone booth. Like that's how smoothly quick he actually is. It's something that you don't see often. And people want to pigeonhole, because he's a small running back, they want to pigeonhole him as like a change of pace guy, a third down guy. I don't think he's that. I think he's a legitimate starting running back. Super elusive. Just like I said, in a phone booth, it's absolutely crazy. Never seen anything like that. Not afraid to block at his size. Like I said, he's a smaller guy, but he gets his blocks in. He gets his blocks in. This is why he's my number 2. Can catch and probably has the best acceleration or burst of all the running backs in this draft. He's really got all the tools except for his size. If he was the size of Najee Harris, he's getting drafted where Saquon Barkley's got drafted, number 2 overall. Not literally number 2 overall, but like just overall, like he's that type of guy. He will get drafted that high. Then after Michael Carter, we got Najee Harris, like I said. And I'm going to just go down my list, and I'm going to just tell you who's probably my 4th and 5th. But I will say this, Javonte Williams, the other UNC back, is not in my top 5. He's a straight up just power back with not the elite speed. He shows some quickness. He shows some solid balance. But there wasn't nothing that I saw. His acceleration and burst is just not there. With Najee, there's a little bit something there. It's not like he doesn't have it at all. There's some burst there. It's not like it's just not there. But with Javonte, I just didn't see that burst. I didn't see that extra gear that I wanted to see from for a running back, and that's why I do not have him in my top 5. I could be wrong. We go through this process every year, and people have their own opinions of certain players. And be honest with you, I can be totally wrong about Javonte Williams. But I will say this. This is my opinion, and this is what I thought of when I saw him. And I just don't think he is the type of running back that a lot of people are going to probably give him credit for. After him, I watched Kylan Hill. Mostly it was just with him, it was great balance. I didn't think there was like really an elite trait when it came to him, but his balance is absolutely it's off the charts, just like Najee Harris. Their balance are really, really good. I think that he can be a pretty darn good running back in this league. I just don't, I don't have him in my top 5, but I will say this: I will take him before I take Javonte Williams. Kylan Hill, and also I didn't name what school he went to. If you don't know who that prospect is, I want to say it was Texas A&M. I'm gonna be honest with you, I forgot what school this kid went to, but I knew that he's a solid guy. It's probably not Texas A&M, but it's a team that's colors is close to it, I believe. But whatever, just check out his name, Kylan Hill, Hill. Check out his name. You'll see who I'm talking about. I'm sorry, I forgot to put the school he went to. Next on the list is Chuba Hubbard. He's number 4 on my list. He's number 4. Runs through contact, falls forward, good acceleration. I can tell you this right now, that when it comes to him, those 3 things that I named, and that's not all that he is, but those 3 things that I named is pretty much what I look for most of the time for running backs. Is a big thing that I looked at when I was studying my first year of studying, draft prospects to put on YouTube. Chuba Hubbard was just absolutely, he was up there. He was, it was just naturally when I saw him playing the running back position. It reminded me a lot of where I was going to when I said back in 2018. It reminded me a lot of Nick Chubb. It's kind of funny they got Chubb in their name, but it reminded me a lot of Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb always fell forward, always ran through contact, had great acceleration, didn't have the amazing speed, especially what you're probably going to see from a Michael Carter. But and a lot of these running backs are not really like speed backs, at least the ones that I was watching. There's not a lot of speed backs in the names that I'm going to name, and I didn't watch a whole bunch of them. I didn't have the time to go through a whole lot of them. I'm a busy guy, so it is what it is, but I at least made sure I went through about 10 guys, and these are just the guys that I listed. When it comes to Hubbard, it's just he reminds me a lot of Nick Chubb, and I think that that's what's going to make him a pretty good running back in the NFL, barring that he gets injured. Next we're going to talk on the list is Trey Sermon. Just want to say this, he's not in my top 5 neither. He just seemed like a big, fast athlete. Like, he's a guy that I felt as though could actually play another position. Like, he's playing running back because he's just pretty good at it. Like, I just didn't think that he was I just don't think he's a natural running back. I think he's an athlete that can play the running back position pretty well. But I don't think it's well enough for the NFL. I think that it's kind of more of he's going to probably give you like, 2, maybe 3 big years in the league where, it's going to be those big runs and just amazing, just like, oh, wow, yeah. It's going to be, not to say Ezekiel was different, not to say Ezekiel, more like a DeMarco Murray. He just popped up in my head because he was a guy that he got onto the scene and just started wilding out of nowhere and just became what people considered a great running back. But he was pretty cool, and he didn't last. Not to say he didn't last long, but his production didn't last long in the NFL because he was just another guy. He's going to give you some things like. Trey Sermon's going to give you some big plays. He's got it. He's got a lot of... He's going to give you it. But he has to also be in the right situation. He had a lot of runs that were blocked really well. He had huge holes. And it seemed like a guy that just, like a Clinton Portis. you give him a huge hole, he's just going to use his natural speed and acceleration and whatever. Is just going to go ahead and just get a big play. But it wasn't anything after that. Like, he wasn't creating nothing. There wasn't no extra juke or to be able to stiff arm and break a tackle or something. Like, it wasn't that extra stuff a lot. And he just didn't give that. And that's... And it's kind of, it's a little bit like, I could be wrong about him as a running back, but I just didn't see that extra juice that I saw from Michael Carter, and that I saw a little bit from Kylan Hill and some other running backs that I saw on this list. He just didn't have that. He did have good balance, which is always an extra big thing. And he showed up in big games, which I think that, like, when I say it, when he gets to the NFL, he's one of those guys that he'll surprise some people with, like, and not be it'll be a surprise because he did it in college, but he's gonna have those big plays and probably get a starting role. But to think of him as a franchise running back, I don't think he's gonna be that guy. Next on the list is Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre from Oklahoma, very patient runner. He's a good pass blocker. Solid speed, but not elite. He's a 6'2", 240-pound running back. So you're not going to get the elite speed, but I guess you could say it's similar to what you'll see in a Derrick Henry. Good agility. Very tough to tackle. Like I say, he's a big guy, and the agility is actually surprising because he's such a big guy. But he's actually more nimble on his feet than what people will give him credit for. And he has one of the most excellent stiff arms that you're going to see. A lot of it reminds you of Derrick Henry. I'm not even gonna lie. It is very Derrick Henry-like when you do watch him. The only thing is that the opportunities at Oklahoma is not as prevalent because Oklahoma does like to pass a lot. And in a situation, because they do like to pass a lot, he does not have to be in a situation where it's 8 in the box, 9 in the box. It's not even 7 in the box most of the time. It's like 6 or 5 guys in the box, and that's what he has to deal with, and that's how he's able to pull off some really, really good runs. But I think that he does have a skill set that caters to what the NFL is looking for, especially when you see a guy like Derrick Henry running the NFL. Next, we're going to talk about Jarrett Patterson. Believe he went to Buffalo. Could be wrong. Yeah, Buffalo. University of Buffalo. Very jittery. Very, he's got this like this little pitter pat thing that he does as he runs, but it's very quick and jittery. Very agile, hard to tackle when he's that agile, and he's small and compact. I want to say he reminded me of... I don't want to say Ray Rice because he's a smaller running back. I want to say... And I don't want to say Darren Sproles neither because I felt as though Darren Sproles is more smooth, not really jittery. It was kind of hard giving him a comparison of what I saw him as a running back because of that jitterness that he had. But he had a lot of traits that were similar to some of the smaller running backs that we have seen in the league in years past. So... he's a solid running back, and he does have pretty darn good speed, but it's not that elite speed. And something that actually was kind of missing with some of these running backs, I mean, there's some running backs that have the speed, but something that was missing with some of these running backs that was coming out in the draft was that elite speed. I felt like really only Travis Etienne and Michael Carter had like the elite speed to where it's like they can go for a huge play. I felt as though a lot of these other players, even Chuba actually has the speed to get you that big play. But I felt with a lot of the other ones, even Trey Sermon, I can't leave out Trey, but a lot of the other guys, it wasn't like it just, and even them that I just named, it wasn't that straight line, just explosion speed that you'll see from a solid amount of running backs that will come out every year. It was just good enough speed. So. And the last but not least, the last guy I'm going to talk about is the Louisville running back, and that is Javian Hawkins. Just saying what I wrote here. Great quickness. Plays with one speed. His one speed is pretty good speed. It's not that elite explosion speed, but it's definitely faster than a lot of the other guys that are on this list. Needs to improve consistency in pass blocking. There was plays where I saw he was like trying to find where to block the guy on third down. Like And it was just weird seeing that. And the reason why is because he was like, you're completely missing the free runner. And then there was plays where he got to the right guy and he was blocking pretty darn good. So you kind of want to like, so what's the problem here? Like, you're just not seeing it. You know, do the offensive line have to call it out for you? Like, what's the problem with him being a run blocker? I think that if he was a better run blocker, he definitely would be higher on the list. And actually, I would have probably put him as my number 5. To kind of go back, Ramondre Stevens is my number 5 on my running back board. But I actually would have put him on number 5 if he was a better pass blocker. He is a good momentum runner when it comes to breaking tackles. And what I mean, I kind of said that with Derrick Henry. You know, building up momentum is the way that he kind of breaks tackles. And Derrick Henry breaks tackles just because he's a big dude and he will lower his shoulder to break tackles. But the biggest thing about Javian is that he's also a momentum runner. Not to say that he won't lower his shoulder to break tackles, but he's one of those guys where he's hard to tackle because he's breaking the tackles because he's moving fast enough to just guys are whiffing, trying to throw their arms at him, and you just can't get him down. He's not an easy guy that you can just take down. So that's what I really, really liked about Javian Hawkins and what I saw him at Louisville. But that was the last guy on the list. It wasn't a lot of guys on the list. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you got the 2 top guys. So it wasn't that many players on the list. Like I said, I did watch more guys. It wasn't the only guys I watched. But like Kenneth Gainwell, I just didn't like his tape. And there was another guy, I forgot his name. I just didn't like. And there was another guy I didn't like the tape. It was a lot of guys I was just kind of like, nah, this ain't working. It's just not working. But anyway, like I said, that was the last guy on the list. I thank any of you guys for watching. Once again, my name is Draft Raw, and hopefully I edit this video and you can see the end of the video to where you can see where you can follow him at, and definitely subscribe. Anyway, Draft Raw, peace. Thank you once again for tuning in to In the Clutch. Once again, my name is Draft Raw, and if you want to see more videos from me, then you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Draft Raw. And if you want to hear more from me, then you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at the same name, Draft Raw. Once again, thank you. I'll see you next time.